Welcome to Towards God from Rumi's Fihi, part 1 of 2 on Words of Wisdom. Maulana Jalaluddin Muhammad Balhi Rumi, vegetarian, known simply as Maulana in Persian and around the world as Rumi, was a poetic genius, a theologian, and an enlightened master who graced our planet 8 centuries ago. The deep and diverse influence of his legacy remains and continues to awaken the hearts of many, transcending all cultural boundaries. His prolific work has been translated into many languages. The venerated Master Rumi was heir to the rich literary and cultural heritage of Persia, or ancient Iran, and composed his great mystical poems in the Persian language. He was born in the city of Balkh, which was part of the Persian Empire that is today found in Afghanistan. He lived and worked for most of his life under the Seljuk Empire, passing from this world in the city of Konya, which is in present-day Turkey. Fihi, which translates to "It is what it is Rumi's most famous prose work. It is a collection of 71 discourses on various topics related to daily living. As with all his other works, it offers his great wisdom and insights. We now present Master Rumi's teachings through excerpts from the Fihi, Discourses 65 and 66. Discourse 65. Those who are living in hell, their awareness turns to God, while in this world they forget. Nothing is sweeter than the awareness of God. Therefore, their desire to return to this world is to work and carry out deeds so that they can witness the manifestation of divine grace. Hypocrites are consigned to the lowest place in hell because they were shown the faith, but their unbelief was stronger. They did nothing with the gift they were given. Their punishment is more severe, so they can become aware of God. To the unbelievers, faith never came. Their unbelief is not as strong, and so they become aware through less punishment. Between pants with dust upon them and a carpet with dust, the trousers only need one person to shake them a little to become clean, while it takes 4 people shaking the rug violently to rid the carpet of its dust. The inhabitants of hell cry, "Pour upon us water, or of that God has provided you." God forbids their desire for food or drink. Therefore, this saying means, "Pour upon us from what you have found, and shines upon you." The Quran is like a bride who does not show her face to you even when you draw aside the veil. The fact that you have examined her and yet have not attained happiness or mystical unveiling is a sign that your act of trying to remove her veil has itself repulsed her, so that she appears to you as ugly. She says, "I am no beautiful bride." The Quran shows itself in whatever form it pleases. But if you do not try drawing aside, attending it from afar, working upon whatever pleases it best, then it will show you its face without any effort at drawing aside the veil. Seek the people of God, for God does not speak to everyone, just as the kings of this world do not speak to every weaver. They have appointed viziers and deputies to show the way to the king. God has also chosen certain servants so that whoever seeks God can find God in them. All the prophets have come for this reason, only they are the way. Discourse 66. Siraj al-Din said, I was speaking to someone about a problem when something within me began to ache. Rumi said that something is put in charge of you to prevent you from speaking when you should not speak. Usually it is so subtle that it goes unnoticed, but when you feel that yearning, compulsion and pain, then you know there is something in control. For instance, you enter a pool of water and the softness of the flowers and fragrant herbs reach you, but when you get to the other side, thorns prick you. Then you realize that one side is a thorn bed and pain, while the other side is a flower bed and comfort. These differences affect us through our emotions, yet they are closer to us than anything external. Hunger and thirst, anger and happiness, all these are invisible, yet they affect us more than anything we can see. For if you close your eyes, you can no longer see the perceptible, but this will not drive hunger away. In the same way, spice in hot dishes, sweetness and bitterness in foods, these cannot be seen, yet their taste has a much stronger effect upon us than how the food looks. Why do you worry about this body? Why are you so attached to it? You live without it. You are always without it. When nighttime comes, you forget it. But once the day arrives, you are absorbed in your body's affairs. But you are never truly with the body, so why tremble over its concerns? You are not with it for a single hour, but are always elsewhere. Where are you and where is the body? You are in one valley, and I am in another. This body is a great deception. Pharaoh's magicians paused for an instant, like a speck of dust hanging in the air, and gave up their forms, for they knew they lived apart from the body, and the body was not them. In the same way, Abraham, Ishmael, and all the prophets and saints, having paused, were indifferent to whether the body existed or not. Hajjaj, who was intoxicated, once shouted, "Do not move the door or my head will fall off." He thought his head was disconnected from his body and stayed in place only through its connection to the door. It is the same with all people. We think we are connected with the body and depend upon it for survival. Let us continue with Master Rumi's teachings from the Fihi, Discourses 67, 68, and 69. Discourse 67. He created Adam in his likeness. Everyone is seeking the manifestation of God. For example, there are many veiled women who uncover their faces to try the object of their desire, like you try a razor. There are lovers who say to their beloved, "I have not slept and I have not eaten. I have become like this and that without you." What they mean is, you are seeking a manifestation of God. I am the manifestation you can vaunt your belovedness upon. In the same way, all scholars and learned people are seeking to manifest God's desire. I was a hidden treasure, and I desired to be known. He created Adam in his likeness, meaning in the likeness of God's laws. Divine law is manifest in all creation because all things are the shadow of God, and the shadow is like the person. If the 5 fingers spread out, the shadow also spreads out. If the body bows, the shadow also bows. If it stretches out, the shadow also stretches out. Therefore, all people seek a beloved, for they all desire to be lovers of God and friends to his friends. All these are the rules and attributes of God that appear in the shadow. To sum up, this shadow world is unaware of who we really are, yet we are aware. But in comparison to God's knowledge, this awareness of ours is unawareness. Not everything in a person shows in their shadow, only certain things. So not all the attributes of God show in this shadow world, only some of them. For you have been given of knowledge nothing except a little. Discourse 68. Jesus was asked, "What is the most difficult thing in this world and the next?" He said, "The wrath of God." They asked, "And what can save us from that?" He answered, "Master your own wrath and anger towards others. When the mind wants to complain, do the opposite, give thanks. Exaggerate the matter to such a degree that you find within yourself a love of what repels you. Pretending thankfulness is a way of seeking the love of God." Our master, Shams, said, "To complain of creation is to complain of the Creator." He also said, "Hatred and rage lay hidden in your unconscious. If you see a spark leap from that fire, extinguish it, so that it will return to non-existence from where it came. If you insist on matching anger with anger and promoting the flame of rage, it will spring faster and faster from your unconscious and become more and more difficult to put out." Chase away evil with something good, and you triumph over your enemy in two ways. One way is this: your enemy is not another person's flesh and skin, it is the contagiousness of their hatred. When that is cast out of you by an abundance of thanks, it will inevitably be cast out of your enemy as well, because everyone instinctively responds to kindness, and you have left your opponent with nothing to fight against. It is just like with children. When they shout names at someone and that person yells bad names back, they are all the more encouraged, thinking, "Our words have had an effect." But if the enemy sees their words bring about no change, they lose interest. The second benefit is this: when the attribute of forgiveness comes forth in you, other people realize they have not been seeing you as you truly are. Then they know that they are the ones to be reproached, not you, and no proof puts adversaries to shame more than that. So by praising and giving thanks to detractors, you are administering an antidote to that hatred in them. For while they have shown you your deficiency, you have shown them your perfection. Those who are loved by God can hardly be defective. Thus, let us praise those who criticize us, so their friends will think it is our friends who are at odds with the Sufis, since the Sufis always speak well to our friends. Discourse 69. Between the human being and God are just two veils, health and wealth. All other veils come from these. Those who are healthy do not look for God and do not see Him, but as soon as pain afflicts them, they cry out, "O God, O God," calling out and surrendering to God. Therefore, health is their veil and God is hidden in their pain. As long as people have wealth, they gratify their desires and are preoccupied night and day with pleasures. The moment poverty appears, their spirits are weakened and they turn to God. Drunkenness and poverty brought you to me. I am the slave of your drunkenness and need. God granted to Pharaoh 400 years of life, kingship and enjoyment. All that was a veil which kept him far from the presence of God. He did not even experience a single day of disagreeableness and pain, so that he would completely forget God. God said, "Go on being preoccupied with your own desire, and do not even think of me. Good night." King Solomon grew weary of his reign, but Job was never sated of his pain. For more information, please visit rumisite.com.
Vegan, let's prove that we are protective and compassionate.
Compassionate viewers, it was a joy to have you with us for today's words of wisdom.